by going online and going to our tip line, tips.gov.fbi. At this time, that's all I have. Like I said, we are at very early stages of this investigation. And again, I want to thank our partners for amazing work last night and for their support. Thank you.
We'll now open up to questions.
Any idea what kind of rifle was used for the shooter?
Yeah, it was a high point 45 caliber carbine long gun.
And did the shooter, have you been able to look in the background, see if they obtained it legally, that kind of thing?
That's part of what we're investigating now. We're still in the process of that.
Was there any relationship between the shooter and the 4 individuals who were injured?
Also under investigation. Still trying to.
Tell us anything about the motive?
The FBI is working on that as part of their investigation, so yeah, I don't have any information on that at this point.
How many shots were fired total in there, do you think?
That is also still under investigation, trying to confirm exactly.
More than 10, more than a dozen?
I don't have that exact. I can't give you that estimate at this point.
Can you talk
Did
about
the shooter roll?
I
You
don't
know the shooter roll? Have you had any contact with him before?
That's still part of what we're looking into. It's part of his background and possible motivations.
And for the FBI, what information are you looking for? What do you want people to tell you what they call it?
If they know anything about the shooter, we understand that shooter was resident of Dayton, had moved to Dayton probably a year ago. So not recent, not fully resident here for years. So if they have any information about the shooter, his associates, potential motives, anything like that. Thank you.
From here, and did he have a record, do you know?
He was from here and then not recently, moved and came back here.
Do you know where he lived, where he was before he came back here?
He was a resident of Dayton. That's all we know.
Do you know, 20 years old, was he a student anywhere? Was he attending school?
We don't have that information.
Do you have any information?
Kevin, what can you tell us about any search warrants you may have served overnight and what led you to those locations?
Yeah, part of the investigation we did with the FBI's assistance, conduct a search warrant at his residence. And so, we're in the process of gathering that. His vehicle was also in the parking lot, so that's part of the search warrant process also, investigation.
Was that the vehicle you towed this morning, the pickup truck?
I don't know exactly when that was towed. It would have been probably early morning hours at some point.
Do we know if he had a record, any history?
That's part of the investigation, to find out exactly what all, if there's any history with him in terms of criminal history.
Did he have any family in this area, since he was from Dayton?
He did.
Family, and you've been in contact with them?
Yep, that's all part of it. Family, talking to any witnesses that we can, that we have, all of that.
Speaking of the pickup truck that was in the lot, do you have any information about how long he may have been there? There's been reports that maybe he was sitting there for a couple hours before he went inside.
I don't have that right now.
Based on what you know about the victims, would you say that this could have been a targeted attack?
I don't have any information about that. Obviously, that's going to be part of the investigation, but I can't comment on any,
Were
if it was targeted.
Shoppers, or were they employees, or a mix?
Do you want to comment on that?
Sure. I'm Captain Scott Molnar. I'm the commander of the Investigations Division at the Beavercreek Police Department. At this point in time, all 4 victims have been identified as shoppers. No employees, from what we know so far, were injured during the incident.
And of this morning, you had 3 in critical, now just 1 in critical, so they are improving. So their injuries are not as life-threatening.
Their condition is improving from where it was earlier. The indications that we had yesterday evening, there was definitely some concern, but they were all transported quickly by the Beavercreek Fire Department. Therefore, their medical condition is improving steadily.
I know you said 3 females, 1 male. Do you know the gender of the person who remains in critical condition at this hour?
I believe that is the female.
Was she shot in the head?
No.
Can you talk a little bit about where those shots may have been? Were they body cavities, extremities?
I can say that the shots were largely random. So they ranged throughout all different parts of the body, and that is, again, a sensitive part of the investigation that we're not going to release right now.
How about approximate ages?
That I don't have at this point in time.
Adults.
Yeah, all adults.
Where was Mr. Jones's body found?
His body was found just behind the Vision Center in Wal-Mart.
And
Did
the
he have
victims,
other weapons with him?
where in the store were the victims?
Throughout the store,
Throughout the
different
store,
locations
not
in
one-
the store.
Not one particular place?
Correct.
The radio call went out in the cereal aisle. Is that not true? Is that not where this happened or where it started or?
I have to look at the report in more detail. There's so much going on last night, I can't remember exactly where it was.
You're still looking for a motive, obviously, and you're still gathering those materials, but, you know, did the shooter post anything online, anything on social media? Were there any warning signs that were out there, a manifesto, anything he might have written?
At this point, it's really too early for us to comment on that. I don't want to be guessing here. This just happened less than 24 hours ago. We're still collecting all the evidence, so I can't really fully answer that question.
Oh,
Do you believe this
what do
could
we
be a
know about the
racially
weapons
motivated
or the
attack?
ammo he might have had? How many guns? Did he have just the one? Did he have more ammo? Some of these guys come in geared up. What was this guy's situation?
Yeah, he just had the one gun, and we're working on determining, amount of ammo and what else he may have had.
Do you believe that this could have been a racially motivated attack?
We're looking for the motivation. That's why we're working on this investigation with Beavercreek, but we don't know if it was racially motivated or not this time.
He's a white male?
He is a white male.
Question for Mayor Stone, obviously this is the same store where John Crawford III was shot in 2014. Does this bring back a lot of memories which you know for this community?
Well, it can't help but bring back memories. It's, it's a tragedy all in itself, though. This is the tragedy we are grieving for, and it's a shame in a way that it has to be compared to the previous shooting. But no, we are grieving and investigating this particular shooting. Thank you.
And then what can you say, to people who are getting to the point where they're afraid to go out in public because of these kind of things happening? Are there any comments about that?
I understand those concerns. Obviously, when you see situations like this happen, and it's always one of those things where you don't think it can happen in your community. So anytime it does, it's shocking, it's tragic, and it's just another example of, the need for people to just be aware of what's going on. The response to this was so fast. We had people calling in, and everybody just came together to handle this situation as quickly as possible. And as part of that, we always feel the support from the community, and we know that they're there to support and assist us. So, like I said, it's just a tragic incident, and it's something that we'll continue to train and prepare, hoping it never happens, but realizing that it's always a possibility.
Do you know if Wal-Mart was busier because it's Thanksgiving week? Was that time right?
I don't know if they had any change in their shopping population or anything at that point.
Likely, right?
It's possible, definitely.
Obviously, you had a long gun. Wal-Mart has greeters. Did anybody call when did he try to conceal it? I'm sure you checked videotape. Did he conceal the long gun?
Well, that's still part of the investigation process. We're going through to review all of that video, review the phone calls, talk to witnesses. The call that we had, the initial caller, like I said in my initial statement, saw him walk in with the gun. And then,
he had it out. He wasn't trying
correct.
to hide it. Okay.
Correct.
Captain, you said you're investigating the motivations. Your shooter is a white male. Are you able to say the ethnic background of your victims?
At this point, we're not going to release that. That's still part of, what the FBI is looking into as part of their investigation.
Can you
How
talk
far did
about
he
the
get into the
training?
store before he started?
I'm sorry.
shooting?
Can you talk about your training? You mentioned ongoing training
Mhm.
for active shooter. What kind of training has the Beavercreek Police Department done just over the past months, years? Because this has been happening nationally.
Right. We have annual, what we basically call active threat training, to where we have instructors that will have a classroom portion of training in terms of tactics, techniques for officers as they respond to an active threat situation. And we run through scenarios where officers are actually entering buildings, clearing buildings, responding to the threat. Along with that, we also have a a electronic scenario-based system to where officers can interact with the system. It's on a screen, and so they can run through scenarios in that and practice not just responding to a critical incident or a threat situation, but also working on de-escalation tactics and those types of things.
You know how long he was in the store before he started shooting?
I do not know that yet. That's part of the investigation that they're putting the timeline together.
They saw him come in with the gun.
You're talking about a customer?
Yeah.
Yes.
How many agencies responded to this?
I don't have that number off the top of my head, but we had, there was quite a few agencies from all over. In terms of Greene County, Montgomery County, we had support from everywhere locally, agencies coming to help us with the scene and, you know, make sure everything was safe and secure.
We see this video of this officer going in here. I mean, that's pretty intense. He has no idea what he's gonna face. Looks like he's by himself. Talk to us a little bit about what you see in that body cam.
I mean, that's a good way to describe it. You can feel the tension. You can feel the kind of the adrenaline going just as you're watching it. And in his case, it's, you know, magnify that exponentially. And there was another officer behind him that you didn't see, but their goal and their role in that situation is to locate the threat as fast as possible. So at that point, and you know, that goes back to our training and preparing them for that situation, is as they go in there, it's a one-track mind to get to that threat. And then at that point, when they see him, you know, he had already committed self-inflicted wound and he was deceased, then it immediately goes into, you know, the fire department's assistance and clearing the scene and you know, the evidence collection part of all of that investigation.
How long was he in the store shooting, presumably, before police arrived?
I don't have that number at this point, that exact time frame. We're still looking into that to piece that all together.
Do you have witness statements indicating he said anything as he was in the store or walking into the store?
We have a lot of witness statements. Some of those we're still trying to compile all those. I don't know that specifically though.
Has Walmart told you when they will reopen their store and when will their employees be allowed to return?
I don't have that information.
What are their employees doing just?
I couldn't answer. Yeah, I'm not sure what their procedure or how they're handling it on their end.
I mean, with these kind of events happening, you know, seemingly increasingly nationally, would you say community response is what people should focus on more? I mean, if we're in this kind of situation and the police aren't responding in 4 minutes or 3 minutes as if, you know, we're in Beavercreek in another city, what should people be doing?
Well, it goes back to, like I said, trying to do what you can to be aware of your surroundings. You know, always be vigilant, and know, I guess where you're going, what your activities might be. Unfortunately, there's never going to be an exact answer or a perfect solution to avoid a situation like that. It's just a matter of what you can do if it happens. How you can kind of think about to prepare yourself if it happens, to get to safety as quick as possible, call 911 as fast as possible, things like that. So you're mentally prepared if you find yourself in a situation like that.
Captain, this could be for you or the FBI. As you're looking into the background, shooter's background, any indications of potential concerns about mental health?
Like I said, we are collecting all of the information about the shooter and his background right now. Obviously, that's something that we're going to look into it really
Do you know,
deeply.
were there any specific organizations he may have belonged to? Do you know where he worked? Any kind of information on him at this point?
Right now, we don't have any. I mean, we're collecting information. We don't have anything right now that we can share with the public.
So the shooter is 20 years old. The Walmart is down the street from Wright State University. Is there any indication, not necessarily that he was a student there, but he had connections to the university?
We don't have any indications right now of that.
Just a couple more questions. I think we're ready to wrap it up.
I mean, it was a very quick response time. I definitely would like to personally commend Beavercreek around it, but what can you say went into, I know you also do your annual trainings, but that seems like a very quick time for him to be found at 8:42 when the call was made at 8:37, I believe. That response time seems very quick.
Well, that's something that we are proud of, and that's something that we try to, not just a situation like this, a critical incident, but in general, to respond to the citizens as quick as we can. In situations like this, obviously, it's critical to be able to try to deal with it as fast as possible. So that's something that we've always done. We pride ourselves on that, and officers are patrolling, constantly being prepared for something that may happen, regardless of the severity of it, so they can deal with it as quick as possible.
Captain, where were the victims, where were they found? Were they able to walk out of the Walmart on their own volition, or did officers actually have to evacuate them? And where were they found in the Walmart? Because you said they were all over.
Most of the victims, we don't know exactly where they were struck in the store physically. I do know that one patient self-transported to the hospital. One patient was taken to a hospital by medic, and I believe there was a second one that transported by medic, but I can't be certain at this point. Trying to remember those specific details.
Where in Walmart were they found? Were they in the grocery department or?
All over, different spots. I know of one victim specifically that was towards the back of the store, in the grocery section, but outside of that, I'm not sure exactly where they were all
And
located.
were they all taken to Soin, or were some taken to the Valley in downtown Dayton?
Chief, can you help with that?
2 to Soin, 1 to Miami Valley, Beavercreek, later flown to Valley downtown.
Correct me if I'm wrong, was the suspect found in the vision center of the Walmart? It's what it looked like in the body cam.
That is correct,
Okay.
yes. Mm-hmm.
That's towards the front of the store?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, question for you. What should be done about the Walmart? It seems to be a troubled spot. I mean, I know it's not its fault, but it seems to be a spot where things seem to happen quite a bit. Is the city planning anything to try and rectify that, or is there a way to do anything?
Well, all I'll state today is that I'm sure the city will be talking to Walmart and seeing what can be improved, if anything. But I do want to go on and say that for today, we'd like to close the session, and all subsequent information will get out just as soon as it's available, and there'll be future press releases. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
If you're with the media and you didn't leave your email, but you'd like to, it's still got the computer and the list back here. We'll be using that to share.
We're off. Yes, that's why I do this. I'm gonna send you guys a link with the Dropbox, so you can download it. Yeah, it has video and I know there's how I'm gonna do it literally right now. Yep, I have it ready to go. Yep. Yep, I got it.
Okay.